I've helped hundreds of nurses start legal nurse consulting businesses, and they all face the same 5 challenges. And here's how to overcome every single one of them. I'm Randy Lovelace, and I want to be completely honest with you about something. Starting a legal nurse consulting business, it's not easy. If it were, every nurse out there would be doing it successfully. But here's what I've learned through years of mentoring nurses through the transition from nursing into legal nursing. The challenges that you're going to face are predictable, and they're all solvable when you know what to expect and how to handle them. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest challenges nurses face when starting an LNC business, and more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to overcome each one. So let's dive in. Challenge 1 is a big one. It's fear. I like starting with the biggest one, fear, and I'm not talking about rational fear here. I'm not talking about a fear or a concern about having healthy caution. I'm talking about fear that paralyzes you, that keeps talented nurses stuck in jobs that they've really just outgrown, either mentally or physically or emotionally. And most nurses, they've never started a business, right? And the idea of leaving a steady paycheck, health benefits, and a predictable schedule, even if it sucks, it feels terrifying. They think, what if it doesn't work? What if I run out of money? What if I fail? But Chelsea, she's one of our Catalyst clients, and she was dealing with 4 brain surgeries while starting her legal nurse consulting firm. She could have used that and her health challenges and all the struggles with that as a reason to just stay safe in her nursing job. Instead, she said, this is exactly why I need to take control of my life. Now, she has over 20 cases, and she has complete flexibility in her schedule. And many nurses out there think, hey, I'm just a nurse. Who am I to advise attorneys? But the truth is, you have medical expertise that attorneys desperately need. You understand healthcare systems and medical terminology and patient care in ways that most people never will. And some nurses worry about what colleagues, family, friends are going to think. I could go on with that for hours. But they worry that their people they care about are going to think, why is she leaving a good job? Does she think that she's too good for nursing? What if she fails and has to come back to the bedside? And here's what I tell every nurse struggling with fear. Fear is not your enemy. It's normal. It provides good, valuable information. You have fear because it's telling you what matters most to you. The nurses who succeed, they're not fearless. They're scared. They're the ones who feel the fear, and they take action anyway. Shauna, she's building her business while raising a toddler, and she told me, Randy, I would have given up a long time ago if it wasn't for the community support I get through Catalyst. See, fear dissolves when you realize that you're not alone. Seth, he contacted over 700 law firms before his final breakthrough, and he told me that starting his LNC business was as challenging for him as the Marine Corps Special Forces training. But he pushed through because he desired freedom, and that desire for freedom was stronger than his fear of failure. Now he is absolutely crushing it, and he's looking to add subs to his team every time I see him. Let's move to challenge 2, the learning curve. The second major challenge is the steep learning curve that's involved in transitioning from clinical nursing into legal nurse consulting. Nurses, we're experts in medical terminology, but legal terminology is different. You have to understand concepts like standards of care, duty and breach of duty, causation and damages, and how medical facts translate into legal arguments. See, attorneys, they think differently than nurses. They're focused on proving cases. They're not focused on just understanding medical conditions. And you need to learn how to present that medical information in ways that support the legal strategies. And plus, most nurses have never run a business. Marketing, sales, pricing, contracts, invoicing, client management, these are all new skills that take time to develop. Reading medical records for legal purposes can be really different from reading them for patient care. You have to understand and learn how to identify legally significant events and organize complex timelines and present those findings clearly. And this is where proper training becomes crucial. You can try to learn all this through trial and error on your own. You're very smart. I'm sure you're a high performer. But doing it on your own is a very expensive and time-consuming undertaking. And it carries an extremely high risk of failure. In contrast, Amanda, she's a nurse who completed training through Catalyst, and she secured over 80 cases in just 8 months because she had systematic training that compressed years of learning into just months. Instead of figuring out everything alone, she followed a proven system. All right, challenge 3, marketing and client acquisition. This is where so many talented nurses just get stuck. They might have learned to do excellent medical analysis, but they struggle to find clients. Most nurses hate the idea of selling themselves. We're caregivers, not salespeople. The thought of cold calling attorneys or promoting our services feels uncomfortable, sometimes even unethical. Many nurses approach marketing like they're trying to convince attorneys that they need something new. But attorneys already know they need medical expertise. They just need to find consultants they can trust. Most nurses who are trying to be legal nurses try random marketing activities. They don't have systematic approaches, and they might just send a few emails, make some phone calls, dabble on LinkedIn, and then they get discouraged when they don't see immediate results. Many nurses undervalue their expertise, and they price their services way too low, or they just simply have no idea how to price legal nurse consulting services at all. Marketing definitely becomes easier when you understand that you're not selling. You're simply helping attorneys solve problems that they already know they have. Seth's breakthrough came when he stopped trying to convince attorneys to hire him, and he started asking thoughtful questions about their challenges. And that shift from vendor to consultant changed everything for him. See, the key is having proven marketing scripts, systematic follow-up processes, understanding how to communicate value in languages that attorneys understand. All right, moving on to challenge number 4, isolation and a complete lack of support. Starting a business can be lonely, but this challenge is particularly difficult for nurses who are used to working in collaborative healthcare environments. When you're working from home, analyzing medical records alone, it's easy to feel isolated and disconnected. You might miss the camaraderie of nursing colleagues and friends at work and the immediate feedback of healthcare teams. In nursing, you can always ask a colleague or a supervisor when you're unsure about something. As a solo legal nurse consultant, you might spend hours researching questions that an experienced mentor could have answered in minutes. Without colleagues around you to provide feedback and encouragement, it's easy to doubt yourself and to start doubting your capabilities. Imposter syndrome can set in and become a real challenge. Hospitals and all their faults, they provide ongoing education, professional development, teams. As a solo consultant, you have to create your own learning opportunities. You have to create your own team. This is why community and mentorship are so crucial for legal nurse consulting success. In Catalyst, we have a community of nurses where you can ask questions 24/7 and get answers from people who understand exactly what you're going through because they've been there. Another successful LNC client through Catalyst, her name's Alex, she told me the community aspect of Catalyst was what kept her motivated during some really challenging months. When you're surrounded by people doing what you want to do, it stops feeling impossible. All right, last one, challenge 5. Challenge 5 is working on the wrong things. This might be the most expensive challenge of all. You're spending time on activities that don't move your business forward. Many nurses spend months perfecting their website, their business cards, marketing materials before they ever even contact a single attorney. They're using preparation as a form of procrastination a lot of times. And without clear guidance, it's easy to get distracted by every new marketing strategy out there, every new Facebook group, a networking event, a business idea, the next shiny object that comes along. And you can end up scattered instead of focused. Many new LNCs create services they think attorneys need instead of focusing on services that actually have value and that attorneys are ready to pay for. Without proven processes, you might spend hours on tasks that could be completed in minutes with the right approach. And despite all of this, I want you to understand something crucial. Listen up. The only way to truly fail in anything is to quit. Everything else is just feedback and learning opportunities. But second to quitting, the biggest reason nurses struggle is not having a great mentor and a great path laid out to ensure they're working on the right things. You can work as hard as you want, but doing more of the wrong things only gets you farther from your goals. A great mentor provides something that's invaluable: the perspective that comes from having already built a successful practice. They can tell you which activities will move your business forward and which ones are just busy work. And here are a few things that I think a great mentor provides. 1, proven systems instead of trial and error. 2, strategic guidance on priorities and focus. 3, reality checks when you're making emotional decisions. 4, accountability to keep moving forward. Sometimes you need a kick in the rear. And 5, course correction before small problems or mistakes can become big ones. The common thread here is that all challenges are solvable. And here's what I want you to understand about all these challenges. They're not unique to you. They're all solvable. Fear dissolves when you have proven systems and community support. Learning curves shorten dramatically with proper training. Marketing becomes systematic with the right scripts, the right processes. Isolation is eliminated by joining the right community of support. And wrong focus, it's corrected by having the right mentor. Every successful Catalyst client has faced these exact same challenges. The difference is they had the guidance and support to overcome them systematically instead of struggling alone. Kelsey, she started her business while expecting her first baby, and she was worried about balancing business with motherhood. Now she works from home, and she's present for every precious family moment that she was afraid she'd miss as a nurse. Sarah, she had back surgery, couldn't continue travel nursing. Now she travels internationally while running her business remotely. The challenges don't disappear. They just become manageable when you have the right framework for handling them. This is exactly why we created Catalyst Coaching and Mentoring, to address every single one of these challenges systematically. For fear, you join a community of nurses who are successfully making the transition, proving to you it's possible. For the learning curve, you get comprehensive training that covers both technical and business skills, plus 3 practice cases with individualized feedback. For marketing, you get proven scripts, systematic processes, frameworks for building attorney-client relationships. For isolation, you become part of an active community where you can ask questions, get support, and celebrate success together. And for having the wrong focus, you get ongoing mentorship from people who have already built successful practices and can guide you toward what actually works. But most importantly, you get the assurance that you're not going to fail because you're not going to quit. When you have the right support system, quitting stops being an option at all. Look, every nurse who's ever started a successful LNC business has faced these exact challenges. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle, it's not talent or background or experience. It's having the right guidance and support. You can try to overcome these challenges on your own through expensive trial and error, or you can learn from people who have already figured out what works and what doesn't. In our free training, I'll show you exactly how we address each of these challenges and how Catalyst clients are building successful LNC businesses despite facing the same obstacles you're worried about. Remember, the only way to truly fail is to quit. Everything else is just part of the journey towards success. Check out our free training where I'll break down the complete framework for overcoming these challenges and building a successful LNC business. The link's in the description below. And remember that your challenges are not unique and they're not insurmountable. With the right guidance, they're just temporary obstacles on your path to success. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.